Hey friends, welcome back. I wanted to show you the biggest carrot ever and the biggest tomato ever. I'm holding it like it's Simba and the Lion King. So here we are harvesting the seeds from the pea plants. So these are the dried up pea plants that I let completely turn brown, and then I yanked them out and set them over here to dry another day. And I'm just going through one branch or strand or whatever at a time, looking for the pea pods that are all dried up and breaking the pea seeds out. So whenever you leave a pea pod on the plant and let it completely ripen and brown and dry out, that's when it's ready. Oh, look at our baby.
No, baby.
Sweet baby girl. And then once they're dried out, then they're good for planting. Aw, sweet Scooby-Doo, Tater. So that's what I do. It takes a while. I just play my audiobook and go through all of them, and I put all the pods in a bowl and just go through them one by one and open them up. I actually end up roughing up the skin on my thumbs and cutting my thumbs by the time I was done with all that. And then I sweep everything into a pile just so it's easier to lift it up and see if there's any that fell out. And we got enough for a few years, I think, which is great. I won't have to buy seeds. And we come over and check out the peppers. So this video was supposed to be just, I threw on the GoPro, I'm wearing it on a headset on my head, and was just going to walk around and do this or that, and that would be the video, getting stuff done in the garden. Totally turns into a harvest video, and that's not the intention or the aim I was going for, but that's what caught my eye. So we're just going through the pepper plants, seeing what we can dig out. We have snacking peppers, sweet yummy peppers or something like that, jalapenos, ghost pepper, habanero, Chinese 5-color, cayenne, sugar rush peach, shishito. Let's see. I know there's more. Oh, and some bell peppers and Lisa peppers. And yeah, just some like random bell pepper and purple bell pepper. And we've been getting a lot of peppers. Been very happy. I would like the plants to have a little more space between them for it'd be easier for harvesting, but I also want to optimize my space. Therefore, I plant them as close together as I can get away with to where they'll still be really productive and won't interfere with each other. It just makes it a little more tedious to harvest, but it's all right. I'm optimizing space, and that's more important. Going through our tomatoes, so the cherry tomatoes are all sun sugars, or they're supposed to be. Not all of them ended up being what they're supposed to be, which is sun sugar. And we got a few slicers. Thorburn, Black Beauty, and Black Krim are our slicers this year, and I'm snacking on a few. And then we got a few tomatillos as well. And this is the Italian basil, and I've harvested off of it once, the big batch, and I'm harvesting again, just grabbing as much as I can and putting it in my shirt. And I think this is just like 4 plants or something like that, or maybe just 2, I don't know. And I'm just topping. So when you top a pepper, it sends out more shoots and gets bushier and grows more, and then you can top those as well, and it keeps bushing out. So I'm just topping it, and then I'm ripping off the leaves that look fresh and green. Those ones will taste the best. And I'd already cut this back and cut off the blooms and everything. Oh, see, we got 4 trays dehydrating in the oven for a couple hours. Like, I need some Lion King music, because look, I'm holding it up like it's Simba. Biggest tomato I've ever harvested right there. And that's a Roma. That is the Super Sauce Roma tomato. Bought it from Burpee Seeds, I believe. Anyways, the basil, yeah. I don't know what I was saying, but anyways. And we're switching gears, and we're going to go out and plant these. These were on sale, and they were given to me as a surprise. And I was like, where can I put them? Where can I put them? So one's a caladium and one's a coleus. The coleus likes full sun. It can do well in part shade as well, but it's more vigorous in sun. And then the caladium wants shade. part sun shade. And these calendulas were looking real rough anyways, and I was kind of sick of looking at them. I was kind of sick of them, like they weren't really doing much for me. I don't need to harvest calendula seed because I still have a bunch, and I need to harvest calendula flowers, and I can do that from the calendulas in the front landscaping. So I'm just ripping them out, making room for these. The caladium I'm going to plant a little farther back so it has a little more shade, because the tomatillo kind of hangs over that way. Good root system, not root bound. That's a massive root from I don't even know what. Just snap that with a shovel and plant the caladium. And I think caladium's something that you can dig up and store. Like, does it have like bulbous, tuberous kind of roots or something? I don't know. That's what I think, but I don't know. Don't quote me. Anyways, I'm going to rip it out of the ground in the fall. That's a Kong coleus. And see what it looks like and then save it or not. I don't know. But otherwise, these are both the annuals if you leave them in the ground. In my area anyways. Zone 5A. Water them in real good. I'm glad to have most of those calendulas out of there because they just didn't look very good. They don't look good for the whole season. Toss them in the compost. I'm trying to train the pole beans. Just grow upward. Just grow where you're supposed to. So I have a cabbage in here that I left in here too long. I wanted to see if it would get bigger, and then it ended up splitting. So it's okay. It's in the refrigerator. I'll still use it. Cut out the bad parts. But yeah, it did split. It's not a beautiful whole head of cabbage. And this is our only head of cabbage. I only planted 2, and the other one is not as far along. I think it's getting a little too much shade, and the bugs are getting to it. But I'm just going to leave it and see if it gives us something here in a little bit. It's a purple one. And those are sunflower stalks from the Mammoth sunflowers that they work as good trellises because they dry and they're like hard as sticks. And so I just save them. We're over here at the Blue Spice Basil, which makes a delicious tea. And I just throw it in a freezer bag and then put it in the freezer. And then whenever I want to make tea, I just grab a handful of it out of that bag and steep it in hot water. And stevia, I grow stevia. So stevia and whatever herbs I want to use, and the tea turns out sweet and delicious. I don't want to use sugar in it. And I'm just like, okay, I need to just cut this all back. Just cut it back. And it got dark. Anyways, that's the cut back stuff. I ripped the leaves off of all of them, left the blooms on, and throwing the stems in the compost. And we end up with 2 full freezer bags that'll go in the freezer. And now we're on the next day and just continuing on with the same video. So see those sweet potatoes down there? This tray of sweet potatoes, those are sweet potatoes that we did in March indoors. And I've been letting them sit here. If I need to plant more sweet potatoes, like I find an open spot that I could plant sweet potatoes in or something, then I've been cutting off a stem, whatever, and planting it, and then it'll root into the ground from there. Well, now that it's mid-August, I don't need to hold on to that anymore. So I was going to dump it in the compost, but after peeking in there, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to leave it right here, make sure I keep watering it. Because it's growing sweet potatoes, which is just crazy. So this is the cinnamon basil. I decided I haven't harvested any of the cinnamon basil or the holy basil in the medicinal side over here, the medicinal garden. So I need to do that. And I get back there and I see all these yellow leaves. And I'm like, those aren't going to be prime. Those aren't in their prime. They're not going to be the best flavor. So I cut them back, not all the way down, but to where the stems start to fork out or create more stems. Cut it there, and then it'll create new stems at that point. And put everything in the compost, and then just pick off the green leaves that I want to keep. And then I'll be sure to come back out and harvest the nice, good, green, fresh leaves before winter. And this is the holy basil. So it's not looking as bad. It's not in as bad shape So we do salvage the holy basil, or some of it anyways. And I'm just cutting it back too. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to pick off the good looking leaves. And like in the video here, they all look pretty good, but in person, there were yellow versus green. There was a different color difference. And so I got quite a bit of better looking ones. And I'll be sure to come back out and get a good harvest of that before the season ends. And these are gladiolus. Oh, and did you know Chervil, or Chervil, however you say it, will grow green, go to seed, and die. It doesn't even last the season. I didn't know that, so I didn't harvest any of that before it was already too late. So I'll have to remember that for next year. This is horsetail. We're still in the medicinal herb garden area, and so the Chervil has medicinal properties. I can't remember what, and I have to look it up because it's not in my book. And then the horsetail, same thing, medicinal uses. And I'm just cutting it up into smaller pieces, stick it in the freezer for later use. And now we are going through the carrots. I have 2 grow bags of carrots that we planted together in early spring, like April or something like that. And I'm harvesting them now that it's August. I could have done it sooner, but I was just letting them try to get as big as possible. And this is the best carrots I have ever grown, ever. I've had my best potato harvest this year. I've had my biggest tomato this year. I've had my biggest carrots this year. It's just been a pretty darn good year. So happy with that. And we're switching gears. I want to fertilize a few things that look like they need a little TLC. That is Miracle-Gro Performance Organics 888, 8 nitrogen, 8 phosphorus, 8 potassium. While it soaks and dissolves, we are going to grab some parsley. Since this is a new day, I can dehydrate this parsley in the oven because the basil is out of the oven from dehydrating from the day before. And just grab it and snap it off, and it just keeps growing. I have more parsley than I need now at this point, and I don't know. When I'm busy with work, I don't cook dinner very much, and I haven't used it fresh very much. So it just gets dehydrated for later use. Not a lot of fresh cooking. It's more of like fresh snacking. And then the chive just needs a haircut, so I just rip it with my hands and give it a smidge of a haircut before it gets out of control again. I have too much chive as it is in the freezer, and I don't need this, so anything excessive goes in the compost, so that way it's not a waste. It will give me back nutrients in the form of compost later on. So these cucumbers are not that big and vigorous like they should be, so I just wanted to give them a little bit of a boost of the dissolved water-soluble fertilizer. Water-soluble fertilizer is available to the plants right away, so it'll give them a nice little boost. And got cucumbers wrapping around these eggplants, because I didn't know the plants were going to survive. They were looking really rough, and they're surviving. I've gotten 4 eggplants off of them so far, and so the cucumbers I'm just trying to grow around the eggplant and up the trellis. So we are over here at the other carrot bed, and this is where you saw the big red carrot in the beginning. This is right here. We're about to pull it out, and I had to use a shovel to help get it out because it was all the way down in there. I could not grip it and rip it out, and I was just like, holy crap. So a lot of these carrots bolted and went to seed. So I just feel around, and if it has a solid hard stalk in the very middle, then that means it went to seed. So I'm pulling out all the ones that have not gone to seed, and they just have the regular flimsy stems and leaves at the base of the carrots, and that means those carrots are still good. You don't really want a carrot that's gone to seed because it's hard, and it's not even carrot texture anymore. So I pick out all the carrots that are viable. That one was a long, skinny one. And leave the ones that went to seed because I'm going to collect those seeds. As soon as the flowers dry out and the seeds want to fall out whenever you just shake it into your hand, those seeds are viable for planting. You don't want to force the seeds out before they are dried and done because then they won't be viable. So this is my first time collecting my own seed, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it works next year. Or, yeah, not in this fall, but next spring. So here's all the carrots from 2 grow bags. I'm pretty happy with it. I haven't tasted them yet. Carrots are sweeter in the cold weather, not in the middle of summer. So I know my spring carrots never taste as good as my fall carrots, and that's okay. That's okay, because I'm harvesting my spring carrots in the summer. Just happy to have them. And so we're harvesting again. I just kept on harvesting stuff. That's what I ended up doing for this video, even though I didn't intend on it. The raspberries are amazing. These are heritage raspberries, and this is, okay, the timing's weird. So the ones in the very far corner that we were harvesting earlier this year, like in June, yeah, like all of June, that's the Williamette variety. And then we have a fall gold, and then we have another one, a Boyne or something. So the Williamette variety gave us a whole bunch for like a spring crop, and I'm wondering if we're going to get a fall crop from them. This is their 3rd year in the ground, so there's no way of knowing yet exactly how they're going to behave until we get a few years going, when they fully developed and we've gone through our primocanes and our floricanes and we see the growth pattern. Ooh, look at that. That's a whole bunch there. So the Heritage didn't give us a spring crop. And then our fall crop was way later last year, not August. So this year we're getting a whole bunch in August, and so I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be out here in September and October. Was it October? Well, it was definitely September, harvesting them like last year. So I don't know. I'm glad I'm getting raspberries at different times, though. June and August, pretty spread out, so I'm good with that. We're at the blackberries now, obviously. And they're very hard to harvest because they're so massive. And, oh, corn. Yes! Okay, so the first 2 I grabbed were not fully pollinated, which means the pollens didn't cover all the silks. Each silk is directly connected to a kernel of corn, and that's okay. Not everything's going to be perfect. I had mostly perfect ones last year, but I think we had more wind last year. There was a big windstorm that blew the pollen around, and I didn't hand pollinate as many as I wanted to. So look, that one's a beauty. The 3rd one was a beauty, and then I think this 4th one here is a beauty. Everything's fully pollinated. And so there's a ton out there. We're going to have hundreds of corns on the cobs. They're not all ready yet. They didn't all happen at the same time because the stalks didn't all grow at the same rate. So yeah, got some good looking ones there. And I'm just so happy to have all those berries and corn. So thanks for watching, and thanks for being here. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I got some more videos here for you to watch, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.